Greetings, fellow archaeologists. In 2007, I visited Dunvegan Castle, pictured here on the Isle of Skye, Scotland. This ancient castle is the ancestral seat of the chiefs of Clan MacLeod and my own ancestors. On my visit, a family heirloom caught my eye. It was a large and ragged scrap of yellowed fabric that was carefully mounted on a wall, bearing a plaque that read, "The Fairy Flag." Unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to take a picture of it, as the photographs are not allowed in the room containing the family relics. But you can see that raggedy bit of fabric in the back. That is the fairy flag. I encourage you to search online for photos, as they do exist. Now, the origins of the flag were preserved in the form of stories passed down for hundreds of years through the bardic tradition that was the only form of historical record for much of rural Scotland's history. In the books Stories Told by Dame Flora, compiled in 1968, Dame Flora, the 28th chief of Clan MacLeod, recounts to the young members of the clan all of the known versions of the fairy flag's origins. The first legend relates how the fourth chieftain married a fairy woman who had to return to fairyland after 20 years, but as she walked across the bridge, later named the Fairy Bridge near Dunvegan Castle, she left the flag to protect her human loved ones. Another fairy story tells that a baby chieftain was left alone in his nursery when his nurse wanted to watch festivities that were happening elsewhere in the castle. When the nurse returned, the baby was wrapped in the flag and a strange lullaby filled the room. Gifts from his long-lost fairy mother. Yet another tale says that it's the magic banner called Land Ravager of the Viking king Harald Hardrada. That's him. According to legend, Harald Hardrada's great-great-great-great-grandson was Laud, the founder of Clan MacLeod. And yet another story that's told is that the flag is a holy relic that was brought back after the Crusades by an ancient Scottish crusader. So which story is true? Can we rely on any of the oral accounts of the history of the fairy flag? To be perfectly frank, no. The flag has such a long history that it's impossible to truly determine where it came from and how it got to Scotland. However, there are some little things that were learned about the remarkable flag. In the early part of the 20th century, the flag was examined and then preserved and mounted by Alan Wace, an archaeologist from the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, England. According to the official website of Dunvegan Castle, he determined that the silk came from Rhodes or Syria. So here's Rhodes right here. It's a small Greek island, and Syria is over here. The site also states that the flag dates from the 4th to 7th century CE. Mr. Wace also stated that in its day, it would have been exceptionally precious, possibly the shirt of an early Christian saint. With this in mind, the most likely story is that of the Viking king Harald Hardrada. History says that he visited Constantinople, which is right here. Modern-day Istanbul was once called Constantinople. So it's possible that he brought the flag home with him to Norway and then into battle with him to the British Isles, where it eventually became a family heirloom to his descendants and later came to Laud, the founder of Clan MacLeod. And now, while the story is more likely than most, it certainly can't be proven. When Mr. Wace related the archaeological information of the fairy flag to Sir Reginald MacLeod of Clan MacLeod, that's this cheeky fellow here, he did relate where the flag came from. But in true Scottish fashion, Sir Reginald replied, "Mr. Wace, I know that my ancestor married a fairy, and it was given to him by the fairies." To which Mr. Wace replied, "Sir Reginald, I bow to your better knowledge." I think that John MacLeod of MacLeod, the 29th chief and grandson of Dame Flora, said it best. For both historians and laymen, these stories provide an invaluable insight into the history of Dunvegan and a real sense of the personal and cultural involvement between chief and clan throughout the ages. These stories, told in this way, have a chance of reminding us truly that fairy stories are true. It's amazing, isn't it, how easy it is to forget this. And so I leave you, fellow archaeological interpreters. Which account is more valuable to us? Can you believe in fairies and in science? So thank you for your time and attention, and may the fairy folk always hold you in their favor.